Welcome back to Grab Your Gear 180, where we break down what matters most in 3 minutes or less. Do you care about the United States Constitution? Well, if you do, and you probably should because it's the most important document arguably in the history of the world, you might want to learn about what we call Jeffersonian versus Hamiltonian Constitutionalism. The founders wrote the Constitution to stipulate exactly what the newly created national government would be able to do. Federalists and Anti-Federalists vehemently debated this idea of a new constitution, fearing it would lead to a government similar to the one they had just dismantled. But Alexander Hamilton, an ingenious and persuasive voice in the Revolution, defended this new constitution and successfully persuaded many to vote in favor of it via the Federalist essays. But changing positions from his thoughtful essays, Hamilton later read into it one of the most damaging doctrines in United States history, a very broad interpretation of the Necessary and Proper Clause. Hamilton, working as the first U.S. Treasury Secretary, was trying to convince, at the time, President Washington that the United States did have the power to incorporate a national bank. Clearly, incorporation powers were not strictly delegated in this new constitution, but Hamilton read in Article 1, Section 8 that it was necessary and proper to incorporate a national bank. In short, President Washington had a very important decision to make. Interpret the Constitution strictly and as written, as Thomas Jefferson did, or listen to Hamilton's liberal, broad interpretation and incorporate this national bank. In the end, Washington decided to go with Hamilton's decision, setting the country on a vastly different course constitutionally. Many argue that Washington's interpretation is what has led to the bloated government that we all know and love today. A Jeffersonian interpretation of the Constitution would leave the states with much more responsibility, a very Federalist approach, but it would also guarantee a much smaller and efficient government. Heck, when Elon Musk purchased Twitter and fired half the staff, people thought the app would implode, and guess what? Twitter is much more efficient and on course to be profitable for the first time in Musk's tenure and just the third time in 10 years. Do you think the United States would be better off with half its staff and a Jeffersonian view of the Constitution? Let us know your thoughts down below. Till next time on Grab Your Gear 180, this is your host, Joe Staten, signing out.